Why hello there, fellow asteroid miners, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, Fire in the Hold. Episode 40, heading out to build up a slush fund. So we're heading back into the belt, and the plan is to make some money. To pad our accounts and to potentially afford new weapon systems. Also, if there are other gal-fed miners out there, like maybe asking to dock with them or rendezvous with them and chatting them up, or at least seeing who's on the crew. Now the problem is, once they're like on their own ship, the chance of them just like straight up dying is pretty high, because like other pilots are stupid. And it's hard, you know, I don't know if they're going to survive their stupidity, which is a shame. So there's always that looming as a specter of, hey, maybe the people I'm chatting up don't survive. Oh man, I used too much fuel there. Oh well. Because like, HYQB, like, I don't know if they're, no, maybe they did dock. Well, they overshot it. But some of these ships are obviously just like careening into Ceres and dying. That, like, they just died. You know? So yeah, the plan is to head to this asteroid belt or cluster. So thrust cycle on. Safety. Well, I'll keep the safety on. Let's kill the cross velocity. And then start pushing our way that way. If you hire a ship from another crew, well, it depends if they're the last crewman or not. But what happens if, like, they're the only crewman left on their ship? I don't even know. I guess it goes unowned. It goes derelict, essentially. It's not owned by you. And the ownership doesn't transfer to you if you hire another crew. So as far as I know, if you do something like that, it's just they're effectively abandon the ship. The game doesn't have a lot of guardrails about like the sandbox guardrails. I had mentioned this last stream in detail, that there isn't a lot of guardrails to this sandbox game like there are in some other sandbox games, where like things can get weird quickly, and there isn't a lot of code to prevent things from getting weird. And someone astutely in YouTube comments, I wish I could remember who exactly it was, made the comment that Kenshi had... So if you're familiar with Kenshi had a lot of... And I had mentioned this last stream. They had the import system. So in Kenshi, when things went weird, way weird, irreparably weird, you could kind of import your save game file into a fresh world to try to fix things. Where you selectively imported like world states to be able to put things a little bit more back to normal. So if in Kenshi, if things got sent into motion like a cascading domino effect, and the universe or the world went off the rails in a way that you didn't want, intend, or cause, you had some controls to fix it. And there's not a lot of games that have stuff like that, which makes Kenshi even weirder and stand out even more amongst its peers. But yeah, it's the reason I mention it is I do feel like this game could stand to gain from something like that, to benefit from a system like that, where you could, sort of extract your progress, your money, your reputation, your standing, your ship, and like stuff it into a new world. And it would be pretty easy in this situation, because like everything outside your ship just gets reset to normal. You know, potentially including relationships, maybe a checkbox for that or something like that. But I digress. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to get there roughly where I want to be in an hour and 50 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a backup save called sleep, and sleep for 1 hour. This time not 2, but 1. And then we should be near the belt. And I picked a spot where I can claim the area that is not covered by other microsats. So we'll claim a zone and then do some light mining. So right now it's 16. So sleep for 1 hour. And I just remembered fondly conversations with Shelby Higgins, who is many... Actually, yeah, how far away is she? I'm going to keep this pause for a second. I'm really curious. Shelby. She should still be at K-Leg, I suspect. Why isn't she... Is she dead? She must be dead. Hide dead. Because... And the reason I just mentioned all of that, like, save state resetting stuff is, like, things go off the rails almost by design here. Oh my god, what a weird name. Almost by design here in Ostranauts, where, like, it can get weird quickly and be hard to recover quickly. Where the frick is Shelby in this list? Oh, okay. No, she's still alive. I just started hiding everyone but closer contacts. So I remember her fondly, but she's super far away. Cool. Alright, roster back to work. And we should be rapidly approaching the belt. Oh yeah. Oh god. Okay, I overshot. Not really, actually. I'm just lucky that it didn't hit anything. I'm bad at that. So we are... Let's head for, like, this cluster here. And Louis, thank you for the resub. So that cluster... I guess I'll turn around and get ready to retroburn. Burn retrograde. So I'm there in about 12 minutes. Or around the vicinity in about 12 minutes. How's it going? It's going pretty good. Alright, safety off. Whoa, boy. This is the weird Ceres ship that, like, I think I caught hanging out around Port Mojave. They don't pose anyone threat. How freaking fast? You are going 53 kilometers a second relative to me? What in the cowboy suicide burning hell are you doing, my man? And I think let's dock with this asteroid. Obviously this asteroid I think is outside of the... Yep, it's out. Okay, so this one is potentially shiny and is a good target. So here we go. I'm going to slow down time and start my burn. Where I want to kill all of my cross velocity to this asteroid and then slow down to be able to drop a microsat, claim it, and then mine it. Transplanetary racing? I mean, yeah, it's kind of seemed like it. Alright, 300 meters a second. Let's fast forward time. The other thing is, I need to be attentive about who is around me, because claiming land, even though I'm, like, well within Galfed territory, is inherently an unsafe practice, right? Almost every time we've, like, claimed anything in the past, we get messed with. Some or another. Not every time, but like a significant portion of the time. So there's a risk that like belt pirates or Ceres extraction will be like, yo, you're not allowed to do that. Because both factions are trying to get all of the asteroid belt. So any land claim is an affront. Even if it is in safer territory. in air quotes because, you know, there's no such thing as truly safe territory, I would say. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I screwed up. Doing that burn on time acceleration threw me off course. Fixing. Okay. There we go. Aim to 180. And let's just pass the next 10 minutes quickly. So yeah, I see some ships like absolutely flinging themselves towards Port Mojave, but I don't see anyone that close to me right now. It looks like my very local sector is relatively empty. So I don't have a lot of concerns about who's around and what's going on. Another thing is, relative to this asteroid, I want to basically come to a full stop. But without actually being at the asteroid, because I want to drop my claim set. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to drop my relative velocity down to low single digits. There we go. Very low single digits. I'm basically just floating here relative to all the asteroids. We'll drop a claim set. You can grab a quick bite to eat, and then tether and mine. And I should grab my mining drill at some point. Nope, something got micro hit. And I collided with the microset. The hit was where? Here? Yep. So we got, I'm going to pick up the mechanical parts. It skipped the thrusters. No, it broke this thruster too. And I'll check the ship logs to make sure it was like a micrometeorite strike. I'm 99% sure it was. So first, let's pick up all the trash. Because fortunately, I'm like stationary relative to everything else. So there's not really a risk of me hitting anything. And let's repair the wall. And then we'll repair the thruster. So we're grabbing stacks of carbon fiber and steel, I'm assuming. And yep, there's the fix. Restoring. Restore the conduit. I'll activate the damage overlay to make sure I'm not skipping anything. This thruster did not get hit, so then we'll start repairing this. No idea why I'm repairing it from the outside, but whatever. Again, I'm not really moving relative to the asteroids around me, so it's not like I'm likely to hit a collision or anything like that. Alright, I do have my damage overlay on already. So opening up the damage overlay, yeah, I think we're good. I think whatever damage there was has been remedied and fixed. So put the spare parts away. And this is exactly why you want a lot of spare parts, and also why I like stocked up before I came here, because there just isn't a lot of spare part availability unless you want to like strip down a ship to its bare minimum while coming here. Also found some ammo that shouldn't be loose. Okay. Grab the mining laser. Full charge, pretty good condition. Battery 1 and battery 2. So we have these two chargers up here up front, which have batteries in them as far as I could tell. Yes. And yes. Okay. So we have all the mining batteries that we need. I'm actually going to pick up the microsats that are in the front of the ship and throw them in the reactor room. Because I want to make space for minerals and stuff. I'll do the same thing for the wall. Yes, I know I could have used the dolly, but whatever. It's not that much longer to do it this way. Now the front of my ship is basically all ready to be filled to the brim with mining stuff. Before I do anything else, whoops, I want to check the ship log, because I'm pretty sure it was just a micro hit. Yep, micrometeorite hit. Impact with GLDDT is the microsat claim, the land claim. But right before that was the micrometeorite. So, yeah, nothing on that list that is of surprise to me. I'm going to eat some vendor food. Om nom. And then let's go tether. Now that we've claimed the area. Also, so there it is. There's the land claim, and this is my land claim. So I'm tethering to this asteroid here, and I'm also just looking around, making sure I'm not... Oh, wow. I'm in a decaying orbit. Even if I didn't move at all, I'd eventually hit Ceres here. Because I'm like in its gravity well. Just making sure I'm not like close to any hostiles or anything like that. It doesn't seem to be the case. So in 18 minutes, we'll rendezvous with the asteroid. And my proximity alarm's back on. Ha! I didn't remember, but I did, sort of. It doesn't count. I should have had that on immediately. I don't see the shadows of any crafts that are on, like, an obvious intercept course for me. There's some ships of concern around. This one is just a mining ship. I don't think it's going to cause me any harm. I don't see that it has weapon systems. This one has weapon systems. It doesn't seem like it's actually headed my way. It's heading... It looks like it's heading this way. And I don't see anything else on the radar that, like, screams, hey, incoming! So, I think we're good on that front. Did we forget more decoys? No, they weren't being sold. They are going to be sold in 6 hours or so. Oh, one issue that we're going to have is, I don't have mooring control right now. So I'm going to pause the game and, time zone for mooring. So I can't really tether to an asteroid if I don't have mooring control to actually do the tethering. All right, tethered. Helmet on, laser on, dolly fetched. Visor, give me mass, maybe? Yep, mass overlay will work. For the science's sake, I might dig out to the inside of every one of these to look for shiny cores. Full knowing that some of these aren't really worth the effort, but I can't... It's better... It's, you know, I'd rather do it anyway. So we have hydrates, which aren't worth much, but I'll pick them up. Regolith I'm not going to bother with. And Starbuck, thank you for the resub. And the center of this thing has no deposit. All right, there is a shiny core here, so here we go. The big mining. Perfect. It didn't start with a lot of durability, though. It was, like, not a rich seam or, like, a plentiful... I mean, I guess it wasn't a high volume or high... it was high value, but not high volume seam. But it doesn't really matter. The stuff we're getting out of here is pretty good. Another thing to note is my mining skill is at 10%, or rounded. I'm not exactly sure where it is at, but I figured I'd show that as well. So we're getting some gold and palladium and cobalt, wolfram, iridium. Not bad, not bad. Question for you, chat, because there's almost no information about the mining process in the game. Like, everything is gleaned for me anecdotally for the most part, or like what I could look up on the Discord, or what very little there was on Steam forums. So the question is, have you ever seen any asteroid with multiple deposits? I haven't. It's not to say I don't think they can exist, but I don't know if I should go looking for another deposit having found the one deposit here, because in my experience, it's like one and done. But if you have anecdotal experience that says the opposite, I'd love to know. Because these are pretty big areas to cover. So I could see that there might be other deposits. You found an asteroid with multiples. Okay. I'll look. I'll check. I'm not going to do like an extensive mining tunnel everywhere, but I'll make the effort to poke around. Because these shiny rocks are few and far between. There you go. I don't want to have to do a ton of travel. I'm glad you all provided such immediate feedback. I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, here's another shiny core. Durr. Okay, I could have answered my own question pretty quickly. Obviously, I had eyes. Well, the good news is we're gonna make some money. The bad news is it's gonna take some time. But taking time is not necessarily a bad thing because it allows us to sort of refresh who is at. Ooh, hello. Some sort of comms message problem. All right, noted. Taking time isn't necessarily a bad thing because it will refresh potentially who's, you know, who's at the station. So once we fill up the dolly, I'm going to go and do a little bit of a dump back into the, you know, I'm a little worried. Wolfram, iron. Yeah, there's no longer any space for this stuff. So let's go back to our ship, check out the comms console, see what was up, switch around some batteries because we obviously ran this one out, and then get back to it. So full, full, and full. We now have all full batteries. I'll do the same for my suit. I don't really need to worry about my oxygen. All right. Did anyone try to talk to us? Message log. No. No? 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 Alright, I'm just gonna ignore that little error for now. Yeah, this is an all-reference exception. Basically, you know, if it's to take a random stab in the dark, it's like someone's trying to talk to me on comms, or it's referencing an object, like whether it's a ship or captain or something that like does not exist and therefore cannot talk to me. If I was to guess, I don't know. If I was not actively streaming, I might report it. But me busy is a reasonable, you know, result of me not reporting it as a bug. Void is calling me about my ship's warranty. Well, you know, click. And yeah, this should be a pretty good payday. I hope. So I think I'm going to aim for my personal account to be at least in the like 300k range. That'd put me at ease. And then the rest I can do into company script to potentially afford missile systems, ammunition, you know, the stuff that makes me able to fight. I also might want to save and load soon, because those null references are not resolving much. Yeah. Alright, taking a look down. Actually, let's do a little, personal needs. See if it can speed up our extraction rate. It's a weird place to long for a better love life, but, you know, gotta do what you gotta do. So we found 2 here. I might start the other rock in a second. And yes, there's spaces for like another one to be hidden here, but I'm not trying to be a completionist. I'm trying to go. Yeah, there's essentially infinite stones here in the asteroid belt, and I don't need to perfectly excavate all of them. It's about volume, not thoroughness. Reminds me of the RimWorld meta of like how to strip mine, which is cool and all, but like super boring if you're actually trying to like perfectly strip mine a mountain. It's like, oh god. Unless you have a massive amount of like mining speed with like drill arms and all, and immune to like dark light and stuff like that. It's pretty boring. It's not fun. Unless it also serves like excavating for a home purpose or something. Like strip mining for the sake of actual minerals is pretty boring. Alright, that battery's dead. Switching them out. I didn't mean to do that. Well, I got an Ovaline, but find that non-deposit. I'll poke around a little bit more in this shiny core zone to make sure there isn't any deposits hiding around here, but again, not trying to do the strip mining meta. Just want to make that clear. The really important thing that I want to drive home here is like, what is min-maxed and super efficient as gameplay mechanics, and what I would consider tolerable for the average viewer are sometimes at odds. So, like, if I refuse to do a massive ship redesign and live with a slightly less efficient ship, it might be because I don't want to bore people with doing ship design number 10, you know what I'm trying to say? So, like, what is good for gameplay and what is good for entertainment value is sometimes at odds, and I will often side with what is better for entertainment value than gameplay. And all I have to do in that situation is acknowledge that, yeah, like, I could be doing more min-maxing here, but I don't want to for the sake of the average viewer, is, you know, in my opinion at least, a good enough warning about why I made the choices I made. Because when possible, I want to avoid dead air and boring grind. Because dead air and boring grind ain't good for you guys. So once I mine this up totally and drain my batteries, which my second battery is about to be out, I'll probably detach from here. I think I'll probably hit up one more spot before I return, because obviously the trip all the way back to port is a long one. So I want to balance like time spent in the field versus time headed back to port, so that I'm not wasting fuel to get less money or wasting time to get too much money, because like too much money is a problem, right? If I grind so much that I have like ample amounts of cash that I'll never use, well, that was wasted time as far as I'm concerned. Money with no reasonable way to spend it is not good. You know, I don't want to grind to 1 million script when there's only like 20K's worth of reasonable things to buy. Doesn't look like there's going to be a deposit here, but I'll poke around a little bit more. I still have a little bit more oomph on my batteries. And then once the batteries are drained, I'll call this one quits. I think that's reasonable. It's too bad you can't use like your ship sensors to find this stuff, or if there was some other method to evaluate a good place to mine, like a chance scanner of like where you might want to look for deposits versus where not. I don't know. Perhaps in the future update, I have no idea. And it's a crapshoot, but I'll try the dark core one with the 0 battery I basically have left. Okay, I am officially out of power. We hit most of the asteroids. I skipped one, but whatever. And we got a decent amount of stuff. So heading back to the boat. Oh, crap. Nav message received. That's a wee bit scary. I wonder if these are like, hey, you're gonna die. Hey, I'm gonna kill you messages that I am unable to receive. Nav map. Yeah, there's someone out there very close. Drag, bud, drag. So for the sake of time, I'm not gonna bother with batteries or anything. I'm gonna get right up to my console. So who we got? You are Galfed, so I don't think this is a shakedown. Unread messages. So you are GWN. You are the one who contacted me. Stand down, be destroyed. Agree. Yeah, it is a shakedown. You're feeling nice today. Standing down. Okay, that was it. Crew list. Just out of curiosity. Brianna and Hope. Come here. No. Ship status? On patrol, I'm assuming? Patrolling assigned sector? Okay. Well, that resolves that. I'm assuming, again, important that I say assuming. I'm assuming that my reputation with Galfed is why that resulted in a, alright, you're cool result instead of something more hostile. Why can't I put it there? I have no idea. I don't know what's blocking that one spot. Oh, maybe the towing brace? I don't know. With my rep, they wouldn't even do that. Well, they're probably just like, are you... It's in my headcanon, it is a, are you still a law-abiding citizen? Stand down, if so, type of check. I mean, maybe that's giving the game a little bit more benefit of the doubt than I should. And possibly I'm wrong about it. But, like, that's how I see it. As a... trying to be optimistic about the game's AI. But, you know, more interactions and we'll see. Okay, so we're done here. Let's push off from this tethered and try to find something nearby that is going to be good for us to exploit. But all the more reason to keep an eye on who's around us. It's kind of hard to tell, like, because they don't abide by physics. They can, like, blitz through asteroids at Mach million and not collide with anything. So I'm at a wee bit of a disadvantage of, as a result, right? And by wee bit, like a lot of it. But a massive disadvantage because they can plot an intercept course with me and come to me way faster than I could reasonably do to them. Okay, so we found our next target. I'm only doing the 2. So let's strafe away from this guy and then push towards the next one, which is not that far. Another shiny core prospect. Because we're only doing like micromaneuvers, I don't really need my safety overridden. We can have G-force guardrails on. That's fine. So I really don't need to go that fast to this other one. It's not far away. Yeah, it's kind of like I mean, I can totally get that people would be frustrated with that kind of interaction because it's like, I'm honored by their faction, so what the hell? But I was also honored by AOSEC back at K-Leg, and they were constantly running my salvage license. So this is what I would consider the local equivalent of running a salvage license, which is like, hey, are you going to stand down and abide by the law? Yes or no? And if that was Ceres asking, they would not have let me off with a have a good day at the end of it. Again, giving the game a lot of benefit of the doubt. I know. I'm going to do a quick save and load to try to resolve some of those recurring bugs, and then we'll get back to it. After this, what I'm planning on doing is maybe getting out of the asteroid belt and do a very slow burn back to Ceres so I could sleep for a bit. My character isn't tired, but it's more like to offer the game the ability to turn over the crew docked at Port Mojave. At least that's the hope. Is Brianna or Hope single? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The thing is, if they refuse to allow me to dock or come to me or whatever, it's not like I could, you know, it's not like I could pursue that unless they end up on Port Mojave or something like that. All right. Almost loaded up. Reminds me sort of growing up in New England, where for the interstate highway systems, New Hampshire has like 15 miles of interstate that run through the southeast of the state. So if you're a state trooper in New Hampshire, there's really not a lot of patrol area. So if you're trying to meet ticket quotas, there's not a lot of highway. I mean, there's other highways, but there's not a lot of like interstate highway. So as a consequence, that little 15 miles around Portsmouth, New Hampshire that is patrolled is, oh, it's patrolled. You better believe it's patrolled. You're under active radar every 15 of those miles. And if they could pull an out-of-state plate car over for any amount of speeding, God knows they're gonna do it. And almost every New Englander knows not to speed in that section. It's not so good. You're gonna get caught, because there's a lot of presents. It kind of feels like that. A little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So I'm going to try to keep from using too much nitrogen doing my, like, rock-to-rock hopping. Because nitrogen's... The thruster footprint for the amount of gas you need on your ship to accommodate thrusters is a lot. Whoops. Maybe I shouldn't be accelerating like this. So as much as I could do with reactors, the better. In other words. Let's kill that cross velocity. I know I'm not really doing a lot of G's here. Doing a 0.3 G. Just a gentle slowdown adjustment so I don't go ballistic. Ticket quotas were a huge mistake. Yeah. That's why CHPs and almost every department near the highway hate each other. Alright. Let's slow down a lot more. But, yeah, quotas are dumb. The laws should be enforced. There shouldn't be a, you need to write X amount of tickets this month. But that's getting way outside of astronaut relevance, so that's all I'll say about that. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts Fire in the Hold, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow astronauts.